what better way to ring in episode 4 of the Games Reloaded podcast, and strictly just to be fucking around on Twitch, than with some Guns N' Roses. Oh my God. That gets the energy levels up, I have to say. That definitely helped. Nah, that was completely shuffled. That was random. So anyway, what's up, everybody? It is me, Penguin Rage. We are live here on Twitch, and we are recording the Games Reloaded podcast, episode 4. So thank you again that everybody is joining us from podcasting services such as Google, iTunes, YouTube, and Stitcher. Joining me again this week is none other than Professor B, aka Brian. What's up, Brian?
Not much. Good to be here again. Things are getting better every week with this, and hopefully we keep it flowing well, right?
Yeah, man. I don't know. But yeah, so thank you again that everybody is joining us right now. And quick shout out to all the love we're getting on Twitter right now. All you guys that are retweeting us as the show is going live, and everybody that is tuning in live on Twitch. Make sure you jump into that chat, say what's up, and submit your questions and topics as we will run through those later on in the show. Because, man, it's only fucking Monday, and it's hard to believe that it is only Monday because I'm exhausted because it's been a fun one. What's your week been like already, Brian, or how was your weekend?
The weekend, Saturday, I didn't really game too much. I was social. It was amazing, you know.
No.
Sometimes we crawl out of our holes or leave our rooms and we actually talk to people, but not often, but sometimes. But Sunday, I played a little bit of Overwatch, and again, did a fair amount of walking around for Pokemon Go and continuing to level up on that. I'm level 21 now. But I mean, it's pretty similar to last week. I can't say I've touched any other different game than the ones that I've been playing the last like 2 or 3 weeks, which has been strictly Overwatch on the console and, Pokemon Go. I'm part of the craze, and I'm definitely going for it. I mean, there's a chance after we're done here, I might actually go up to campus and walk around a bit, but we'll see. I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, it was an odd weekend for us. I don't know. I think just with the Texas heat going on right now, it being so damn hot, and then busyness at work right now, it's just been trying to relax a lot on the weekends. Myself, and we are at that lull. We are in the summertime where the game releases do slow down. We don't have any during our first topic of the show in the news. No major releases this week. Just some indie titles, some smaller titles. Not to discredit them, but we don't want to fill up the show with smaller ones. Of course, check out Steam, PlayStation, Xbox Live for the smaller indie titles, as we do support them, and we will always call them out if we are playing some. But yeah, with me, it was just some more Witcher. I streamed The Witcher the other day. Pokemon. All through the week, of course, finding ways to not do work at the office by playing Pokemon. And I just played Overwatch on Friday, too. So Overwatch Fridays, again, here on twitch.tv/penguinrage.
With the old Big Nose, right?
Yep, no Big Nose. Shout out to Matt. He was the only one to tune in this past Friday because Brian's an idiot and thinks it's safe to go outside. And Derek was working or something that was going on. So it's all good, though. I mean, yeah, we're kind of at that lull period in between games right now. So, of course, we're opening it up to the audience on Twitch to send their recommendations of different games. You guys saw me play Song of the Deep just last week. And then I do have in the rotation Undertale, which I was supposed to stream last night. But the day got away from me, and I was not able to stream last night. So shout out again to Osri for sending that title over my way. We got some more stuff in the pipe. We got games in the backlog. We'll get to them. I don't know, man. I gotta quit my job. I just gotta do this full time. So if there's anybody out there that's rich and wants to, hit that donate/tip button below and send me like $5,000 and take care of the mortgage for a couple months, I'd be doing it. I'd be willing. So, God, if only the world worked that way. I'm gonna just have to get on disability somehow. So if anybody knows how to, make that happen, please tweet at me and let me know. Once again, at Penguin Rage Live.
Just eat at McDonald's every meal, and within a few months, you'll be on disability. They'll shorten your life, but it's all right. You got to do what you need, right?
Well, we are thinking about doing one of those social eating challenges here on Twitch. So I know we're trying to raise some money to do the 50 wing challenge from Wingstop. So that's another thing. So once again, guys, if you're into all this other content that we do and the crazy fun stuff, make sure you keep it locked on Penguin Rage Live at Penguin Rage Live on Twitter for updates on all that when we go live and all that good stuff. So enough of the order of business and stuff. I mean, if there's no other news that you have in the games that you're playing, then, I guess we can dive into the news.
Yeah, let's go for it. Let's jump right in.
All right. Well, okay. So one cool thing.
Into the deep end.
Where the fuck did that come from?
From the top diving board.
Are you
big day?
12 years old? What?
Basically, yes. It's a big day, Kyle.
All right, everybody. I apologize for my co-host. He will no longer be with us next week. I'll make sure we're taking applications for replacements. So make sure to just tweet it at me. Actually, I think my DMs are open, so send me a nud and send me an application while you're at it, ladies. But anyway, so yeah, that was something that we actually got to enjoy over the weekend. That was actually kind of neat. So for those of you that were keeping it locked on Twitch, Evo. So the Evo 2016 championships was this past weekend from Las Vegas. This is an annual fighting tournament, championships of various types of fighting games around the world, from Super Smash Brothers to Street Fighter. They have it all. It was very entertaining, very cool to watch. Like the Street Fighter 5 tournament had 5,000 contestants in the early stages. And then when they got down to the final round was actually live on TV on ESPN2 last night. So I threw it on TV to support the numbers and check it out. And it was actually very entertaining. Shout out to, what was his name? L.I. Long Island something. Can't think of it. But it was the only American guy, and he was like a huge underdog. He wasn't ranked. He didn't have a sponsorship or nothing. He came in there wearing a JanSport. And all the other guys are all the Koreans and the Japanese, and they have their like Razer or Steel Series and all their like sponsored shirts and backpacks and their fight sticks. And here's this Long Island Joe. That was his name, L.I. Joe. And here he comes walking in wearing his fucking white JanSport and just a regular like V-neck tee. And he made it to the final round. Didn't win it? No, he beat one guy in the first match of the finals, and then he got relegated to the losers bracket, and then he got eliminated from there. But he held his own, and his dad flew in from New York and surprised him. So it was really cool. The whole arena was getting behind him, so it was actually very good fan service to see on ESPN. Definitely added to the fanfare and to the excitement. So
some random dude that is just apparently god tier at that game.
He said he just started like training nonstop like 2 months before. Like he said he just stopped doing all his extracurricular things aside from like regular life. And he said he didn't play any other games, didn't do anything.
Yeah, all he did was for Overwatch, Kyle.
All he did was practice and watch the guy that won the actual series. I don't have the name in front of me. I think his name was Infiltration. Yeah, that sounds right. He said he would watch his matches and everything like that. And don't get me wrong, this guy wasn't like. He's an amateur, but he's still professional, right? Like he's trying to get on the pro circuit. He's not on the pro circuit, not like the guys like Infiltration or Daigo or something like that. But he kicked ass, so I'm pretty sure he's going to get picked up. He's still got a pretty good amount of money. I think he still walked away with like $4,000. So
yeah, that was not bad. What was the final payout for like the winning guy?
You'd have to pull up Google and take a quick look right now. I didn't watch to the very, very end. I watched. I turned it off at about 11 o'clock my time last night, so it was going late because they're on West Coast. But it was cool to see. I mean, the main thing is that it's on ESPN.
Number one got $101,000.
Jesus Christ. And that's one tournament, right? So this is what these guys do full time. So they go all these tournaments. They're sponsored. I mean, I'm doing something wrong with my life. Fuck. Seriously, somebody please like hit that donate button and send me like $10,000 and I'll make this quality of this shit even better.
Let's just hop onto Overwatch and move into an Overwatch training house.
I could turn this house into like a streaming house / competitive house. It's really perfectly sized for it. Living room, we could literally mount like 8 TVs in that room. It'd be no issue.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
There it is. That's all right. Next week on the Games Reloaded podcast, Kyle's renovating his house to a competitive Overwatch team.
Yeah, okay. I wish. If someone wants to pay the bills, then I will gladly do other means of taking things to the next level. But as for right now, you got to listen to our fun podcasts and our drunken streams. So, but I think the bigger story out of that is honestly, and you know what, this could be the topic if you wanted to, Brian. But we can still go with, we can save it for a later day. Video games being classified as a sport, esports being primetime TV. Like this is on ESPN2. This is national television. And it was broadcasted on Twitch, obviously worldwide, and Lord knows it was probably on some TV channels in other territories as well. But yeah, I thought that was pretty spectacular and pretty amazing, and it had good production value. They sold out Mandalay Bay, 50,000 person stadium.
Yeah, there's a huge
crazy.
market with it. I don't think anyone will question anymore. I think a lot of people won't know what it is, but anyone who is aware of it, like, it's there and it's growing. And
I think this one's much easier to follow for the non-hardcore audience too, because I can't watch a match of League of Legends. I don't know what the
have any idea
fuck
what's
is going on, man. Like, I'm sure credit to those guys that do that. I'm sure it's very competitive. I'm sure it's a lot of fun, and I probably enjoy it. But once again, like I said, if someone wants to hit that donate button so I have to quit my job, I can learn games like that. But as for the rest of us that have we don't have the time in the day, I mean, that it's over my head, I can keep up with StarCraft, stuff like that, but that doesn't seem to have the fanfare on a national level that like it used to.
More. Yeah.
It's really League of Legends, Quake, or not
Dota.
Quake, what am I saying? Dota, that's what I was thinking, Dota. And then you're seeing some
Counter-Strike.
more of the Counter-Strike, and then Overwatch is kind of getting on the pro circuit stuff, which is kind of cool to see. But it's really the MOBA type stuff. But this is Street Fighter, and all weekend for not just the stuff that was on ESPN, but everything that was on Twitch. Everything EVO was fighting games. So it was, Street Fighter, it was Mortal Kombat, it was Super Smash Brothers. Obviously, Street Fighter's the biggest, and it's the one that got the ESPN love. But I think that's much more approachable for the average audience. And Stephanie, my girlfriend, was sitting there watching it, and it's competitive. Like, it's actually, you get into it, and I'm like, yeah, that shit's a whole nother level. Like, these guys are mesmerizing, fucking crazy, like 20 button combos and shit like that. But it's cool to see. It's fun to see, and it's just seeing video games on that map at that level now with fanfare is pretty remarkable.
Yeah,
because I don't think we would have predicted this 10, 20 years ago.
No, I don't think so either.
So, yeah. But all right. That's topic one. We'll move into the next story. Also, this past weekend was Star Wars. Oh, God, what's it called? Star Wars. I got it right here. Let me read it. Star Wars Celebration. But this was the Star Wars Celebration, I believe, in Europe. I don't think it's the same one that's here in the U.S. I could be wrong. But most importantly, why I'm excited about this is Amy Hennig. So Amy Hennig, for those of you that don't remember, she used to be at Naughty Dog. She's one of the originators of bringing Uncharted to life, the Uncharted series to life, and she was there for many of the Naughty Dog products. And she is one of the masterminds behind storytelling, story-driven games. So she's very well known in the industry. During the production of Uncharted 4, she actually left Naughty Dog, which was very interesting, and she went to EA. And more specifically, she went to Visceral Games, who is working on a Star Wars game, a story-driven Star Wars game. So think about Uncharted, but in the Star Wars universe. So that already blows my socks off. So
the fact that it's going to be an original story.
Exactly. So long story short, she was at Star Wars Celebration. She briefly touched on the new Star Wars game, and it sounds like Uncharted. And like I'm quoting here from GameSpot, there's humor and buoyancy, but at the same time, there's stakes and jeopardy. So writer of the first 3 Uncharted games and currently creative director on EA and Visceral Games' Star Wars title has discussed her process for creating a brand new story set in the beloved sci-fi universe. The reason we're collaborating with Lucasfilm so closely is we're writing an original Star Wars story with new characters, locations, tech, creatures, you name it. All of it has to be authentically alongside the stuff people know and said. So like Brian said, it's in the Star Wars universe. It's working with Lucas, but it's an original story. And, being at EA, the size that they are, and being at a well-established studio such as Visceral, and being the name that she is, EA's probably just like Activision did with
Throwing money at her.
Bungie. Here's a blank check. Go do
Yeah.
whatever the fuck you want. Don't fuck it up. Take your time. And I'm actually surprised that this game's not coming out this year.
I hope so.
honestly
That's what the
thought-
case is. I hope they're not pushing it, because that's the case of what's made Uncharted so successful, is that whatever time they needed and whatever money they needed, they got it. And EA, I think they've been better recently, but they do obviously have a history of pushing games out that just aren't quite ready. So we'll
Right.
see.
No, and I think that's the beautiful thing of it is obviously last November or December, I believe it was December, Star Wars Episode 7 came out. It was brought from the ashes. Disney came out with the new film. Obviously, EA wanted to jump on the hype, so they came out with Star Wars Battlefront. It didn't get really the recognition that people wanted it to be, but it was still like a solid 7 or 8 across the board on Metacritic. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. But it still sold very well, and it captured the fanfare that is Star Wars, and did what I think a lot of people were wanting, was scratching that Star Wars itch. My immediate thought was, okay, this year, 2016, we're going to have another new Star Wars film, not in the regular series of films, not Episode 8, but it's a spin-off, Rogue One, still in the Star Wars universe. I truly was expecting EA to be like, okay, we got to have another Star Wars game this year with the hype. And I thought this would be it, but no. Apparently it's not. Apparently it's not anywhere near. We haven't seen gameplay. We've seen a very, 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 very tiny teaser trailer that was at E3, and then we got a few screenshots, or I guess it wasn't even screenshots, they were artwork at Star Wars Celebration, and it's kind of remarkable that EA is actually giving her this creative freedom and having fun with it and doing this to make the proper game that we all want to love. Because, I mean, Battlefront's cool and all. It's multiplayer, and it fit, the universe properly with the sounds and the feel that is Star Wars. But nothing truly is going to touch the hardest of the hardcore like a story game will, where it dives deep into the minds of these people.
Especially if it's original, too. That's the biggest thing, is that if this is going to actually expand the lore of Star Wars, then it's going to be, assuming it's done well and this story is told well, this could actually be a huge deal. And I think it'll be a lot of people, something that a lot of people will be excited for, because at any point, people are always grasping for some new information or some new lore on the Star Wars world. But if it's done well and it actually makes a game that's as exciting and as well written as the Uncharted games, then I think it gives everyone every reason to be excited for it.
Exactly. And you're coming from a story-driven mastermind that is Amy Hennig. I mean, with the pedigree she has from the Naughty Dog games as Uncharted, it's interesting. I mean, I can only see how good this is. And I'm so fucking happy to see that many more developers and creators are going back to the quote-unquote linear, not really linear, but it's more directional, story-driven titles. I mean, you saw it at Sony's press conference with, Days Gone, God of War. You could even argue Horizon. Yeah, it's open world, but it's story-based to where it's really focused on that. It's not everything about this massive online blah, blah, blah that, Call of Duty, blah, 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 quick go through. It's, really capturing the emotions.
It's creating games that tell a story.
Exactly, but it's an emotional roller coaster. And then you saw it with The Last of Us, and Uncharted has done it very well. Alan Wake, what's the one that just came out from the same studio as Alan Wake? Quantum Break.
Quantum Break.
We're seeing more games really trying to capture that, and it's great to see. Okay, but
we're in the Last of Us generation now.
Yeah, exactly, and Kojima's going to do something along those lines too with his next title, and even if it has open world aspects to it, it still puts you down that path of telling you that story.
Yeah.
Versus the games like Far Cry and Assassin's Creed, to an extent, they tell a story, but it's more checkbox style of gameplay. Go over here and take this out. Go over here and do this. So I'm liking this more linear path sort of feel. Now, Brian, if you still have the article open, and I actually find this very interesting. Let me pull this up on the screen for you guys. If we can see it here, at the very bottom, it says EA Star Wars games in development. So most notably, this game from Amy, Visceral Games, says it doesn't say it's coming till 2018. So that means we're still 2 years away, because we could probably assume this will be a holiday title, maybe September, 2018. So that means we're still 2 years away. That
Which
is amazing.
Is interesting. Yeah.
Now, I guess the bigger question is when did this game start development? Because I'm trying to think. Amy left Naughty Dog while Uncharted 4 was in development. I'm trying to think, it was 2014 or 2015. Let's just say it was 2015 by the time she actually got in the EA, got knee deep into something. So I guess you could argue that this project might have only been in development for a year, maybe 2 years tops, year and a half. So if it's another 2 years out, I guess then it's in development for 3, maybe 4 years, which is the normal cycle for the major big budget story-driven games, such as The Last of Us, Uncharted. You're kind of in that 3 to 4 year life cycle of development cycle. So I guess that makes sense. But, to throw this in there as well. Okay, so DICE is collaborating with Motive on basically a sequel to Battlefront. So in the next Battlefront iteration next year, 2017, which I'm okay with that. I enjoyed Battlefront. It was what it is. I think they'll learn from it. I think they'll bring a lot more to what people want in that universe. And it'll probably continue on, obviously. 2017 is the year episode 8 will come out in theaters. They're going to tie it with that. Makes sense. Nothing wrong with that. We did learn this not long ago as well, that Respawn, so the creators of Titanfall, are working on a third-person action-adventure game in the Star Wars universe, which Visceral does not say third-person. It says action-adventure game or action game. But I believe from the screenshots that we had seen, and I believe the teaser trailer we saw back at E3, I think it's to be expected that it will be a third person, very much like Uncharted or The Last of Us. But
yeah,
I could be wrong there. Someone please correct me if we have read it anywhere. But I don't foresee it being in first person. I believe it'll be third. But obviously, if Respawn's saying it's third person action adventure game, so I don't know what that means. They're known for Titanfall, which is a first-person multiplayer chaotic game. I mean, it seems crazy, but there's nothing wrong with that. Then obviously BioWare is doing their thing. They're still working on Star Wars: The Old Republic, which is an MMO that continues to breathe life. Sorry guys, but is anyone still playing that? I mean, obviously someone must be to keep the servers on, but just bring out Mass Effect 4, please. Just that's all we need. And then Capital Games continue development on Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, which I don't even know what the fuck that is.
That's
probably
that's the mobile game.
Okay, that's what I thought. Is the mobile game. And then Motive is working with DICE on the next Battlefront. And then Criterion, which is assisting with development on unspecified Star Wars project. So that's interesting. Because Criterion, they made the oh dear God, what was the open world car game that was crashing on the PS3? You know what I'm thinking of?
Yeah, I think so. Give me a sec.
Cannot think of it right now. I guess just Wikipedia Criterion. But nonetheless, guys, I mean, it's quite crazy. I don't know why that's... They got a ton of Star Wars content coming out, and I very well respect the studios.
They're the guys behind Need for Speed.
Okay, so they did Need for Speed, but what would they did? But they've done racing games.
The most recent one was Battlefield Hardline.
Oh right, they did go crazy, and they went. I thought that was DICE.
Battlefield Hardline 2015, okay. Need for Speed Rivals 2013. Which, I think actually what the game is that they're working on, I'm guessing that the thing you're looking at mustn't be... I don't know. I guess they didn't do their research very well, but it says on here that they're the group working on the X-Wing VR mission game.
Ah, I bet you that's what it is. Okay. Well, that would make sense. But nonetheless, I mean, I think that's a pretty awesome topic of discussion that, I mean, obviously everybody loves Star Wars. It's a huge cultural phenomenon in the world we live in today. And... I mean, to find out now that I didn't even realize that last snippet of the story, that the game's not coming out till 2018, they're really giving her that freedom, it boggles my mind. And that excites me. That truly does excite me. So kudos to EA for at least giving her the time and the blank check to do so. And if it's very similar to Uncharted, that's a great thing. So anyway, Brian, I'll let you dive into the next story here about Nintendo news.
Well, the next one is just the Nintendo is they're bringing back the NES. So they're going to come out with like this mini NES console, and the picture they're showing is an NES console that like fits in your hand. I mean, I guess by all means, that's probably the size they actually could make it, because it is not going to take anything to actually make a console like that. But I don't think there is. Maybe that is what it's actually going to look like. Okay. But basically, it's just going to be. It comes out November 11th with 30 bundled games, and it's going to be for $60. I think is what it total. Yeah, the total price of it's going to be, with each controller being $10. And that's basically it. So I mean, they're just coming out with a console, and it's going to have 30 games. I think some of the classics of this thing: Super Mario Bros., Legend of Zelda, Metroid, Donkey Kong, Pac-Man, and Kirby's Adventure. Check out. We're looking at GameSpot right now. You can check it out in there. It's got the full list, which looks cool. I mean, I think it's an interesting idea for them to do it. They're putting on here also that the NES Classic controller that you have can be plugged into a Wii remote to be used in the Virtual Console NES games on the Wii U or the Wii. So I guess that's one question I kind of have with it, is that it's a cool idea. I mean, it's a nostalgia thing. I'm sure people will buy it because they're interested. But the only thing I'm like is, okay, are these the same games that they're doing? Are they also, I think majority of them are already on the Virtual Console for the Wii U and the Wii and whatnot, but I'm assuming, like, are they bringing all of them? And the only other thing that's kind of a bit of a disappointment to it is that it comes with a 30 games, and that's it. There's no additional memory, and there's no internet connection. So you have those 30 games, and that's it. You can't get anything more. So one key one that was left off the list that I know, Kyle, you and I used to watch play very in depth back at Granddad's house was the original ice hockey game. We used to play the living shit out of that game, and that one's left off the list, and that would have been one that would be cool to get on there. But you can't get any more games for it, so that's, I don't know. Is it something I'm going to buy? Probably not. But it's a cool idea.
I see the reasoning behind it. I mean, I think Nintendo, as the writings on the wall, I think they've made it very abundantly clear that they've given up completely on the Wii U. There's nothing else coming out for it. The thing's dead in the water. I mean, for fuck's sakes, I don't. They're in weird leeway right now because they're going to be rolling out the NX next year. We're going to hear news about it in the coming months. So people are obviously not going to spend gobs amount of money and go buy a Wii U or anything like that when they know the next thing's going to come out next year, which in Nintendo times, that probably means the first half of next year. I honestly think this is cool. I think for $60, it's a compact, nostalgic thing. It's got 30 very good games on it. And, I mean, yeah, it doesn't hook up to the internet, but if it's got an HDMI connection, people are going to be streaming it. People are going to be making Let's Plays with it on YouTube. I mean, this is...
No, don't get me wrong. I wasn't trying to say it's not a cool thing. I'm just saying...
No, I know. I'm saying it's lacking in things, but it's also $60. It's the cost of your fucking game that you just bought last week. Like,
of course, no, I agree with that.
In that regard, because I own a Wii U. I don't know how to use the Virtual Console on it, nor will I care because it's the Wii U and no one gives a fuck. But if I buy this thing for $60, which is kind of an impulse buy, which I'm pretty safe to assume, knowing Nintendo, they're not going to make many of these things, so this thing will probably become a pretty good collector's item. It won't have millions produced, so I think this thing's actually pretty good for the price. It's a nice little collection you can add to where you have all your consoles. And you know what? It's not that bad where you once in a while you're just like, you know what? I'm going to go back and play Super Mario Bros. And pop it on, play it on stream.
The two-player games would be cool to have on there. I mean, it'll be something that'll be fun and nostalgic to bring out and show people and play and whatnot. I'm just saying, for the sake of it, I guess, okay, Nintendo, it's cool you've done that, but I would have thrown more money at you if you made it available to buy other games, because I would have definitely dropped $5, to buy the original ice hockey game.
And they still may at some point find that.
There's no. It says on here, as many suspected, the NES Classic Edition doesn't connect to the internet or use any storage devices, so the games it comes with are all you'll be able to play.
Yeah, I guess that's true, but I don't know. I think it is what it is, and I think it's for $60. I think this is going to sell out immediately. I think it's going to sell like hotcakes, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. I mean, I truly believe that this is. I'm going to say this is going to outsell the Wii U this holiday. Simple as that.
Probably it will.
It probably will. Yep. So, there it is, guys. We don't have much more information on dates or pre-orders or anything like that, but $60 mini NES being brought from the dead from Nintendo,
which is just tying into Nintendo's switching mentality of kind of like how they're going to make their money right now while the Wii U is kind of dying, which is just tying us into our the next news point was that Pokemon Go has finally released into other territories. So now it's in Canada and a few various countries in Europe. And it's still, the craze is still continued. I looked yesterday, I think it was, and it was like of every Android device activated or something recently, it's like 10.3% of them have Pokemon Go downloaded. Now, that's just unbelievable. I mean, there's like, I think over 1 billion activated Android devices. Like that's just, I don't know. It's just going to show how popular this game is. It's going to be interesting to see where it's at in a couple weeks. It's what we talked about last week, so we won't go too in depth with it. But releasing in other territories, so more and more people around the world are joining the Pokemon Go hype, and it continues to dominate the world right now.
Yeah, it's kind of fucking just crazy to think that these numbers and how high it's already been on the charts and how much hype and media hype and just conversations online on Twitter and everything like that. And it wasn't even out in Europe. It wasn't even out in Canada, our next door neighbors. And it just came out on Sunday in Canada. And a lot of the streamers I follow and, some good friends out there, shout out to Casper and the Inexpensive Gamer. They just now get this thing, and they're just now getting into the hype and being able to run around and do the chaos that is Pokemon Go. I mean, it's unbelievable to think that that's the case. And it hasn't even come out in fucking in Japan yet, which they only play games on mobile now, and this is a cultural phenomenon. Pokemon is big there. I mean, they don't have the probably the install base and the number of people just in general that we do in the other territories, but I mean, you're still opening the door to millions more people just slowly over time, and the servers are still getting fucking hammered right now. So, kudos to Nintendo. I've fallen into the addiction. It somehow has made me want to have Nintendo back in my life. Something I haven't had in a long time. I got this Wii U sitting here staring at me like, touch me in places. And I'm like, yeah, but you're not attractive, and you don't work, and you require a 20-digit code to connect with other people and have a three-way, and it doesn't. But something about this, it's the nostalgia feeling. It's the simplicity of it, and I think that if Nintendo truly does the NX right, someone like me, someone like you, many others out there are going to be drawn back in. And, it'll be interesting to see when the new Pokemon games come out on DS this holiday, 3DS. Sun and Moon, right?
Yep.
It's going to be very interesting to see how those do. I think they're probably going to perform better than people are expecting. For the 3DS is also dying. It's on a downward trend as well. It's not anywhere on the spiral cycle that the Wii U is, but it's on its last legs as well, and I think Sun and Moon are going to do very well because of the love that Pokemon is. And I almost want to fucking get a DS to play Pokemon, but then I'm like, I'm never going to play it, and I'm not going to go buy a $200 device when it's going to be irrelevant in 6 months after that.
The biggest thing for me trying to get back into a Pokemon game is I actually tried to while this has been going on, and it's just I don't have the patience for it anymore.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
It's one thing, in Destiny where you have to grind and there is like the slow task with it, but it's like at least things are happening quickly, but the overall end goal takes a while. Just in Pokemon, it just, I don't know. It just, maybe it's just, I think has to do with just how busy I am and trying to just get myself to feel motivated to want to sit through. It's like, even just the opening scene, just to get your starting Pokemon, I think it takes like an hour and a half. It's like, oh my God. Like I guess maybe just when I was younger, I could just deal with it. But now it's just like, fuck, I just don't want to sit and do this for multiple hours. Like I still enjoy battling. I still enjoy the story that came with it. But it's like, the full honesty to it is that it's like back in a few years ago when I had an emulator on my phone, I could play the like Ruby and Sapphire at like 4 times speed. That's the only way I feel like I could play the game now, is that if I could go at 4 times speed. just because
Yeah,
otherwise it just feels like it takes so long.
I think the problem is with modern gaming. This could be a topic again for another day. Is we all have gaming ADD. I mean, for God's sakes, I sit here and I'm like, oh, what game am I going to stream tonight? I don't know what to play. My backlog's fucking disgusting. I haven't started Assassin's Creed Syndicate, the most recent one, the good one that was not broken. I could stream that. I got Mad Max. I'm starting The Witcher, so I have, put my claws into my backlog to play a game I've had on the back of my mind for a long time to play. But it's like, Jesus Christ, we have all this, and like you said, a simple game like Pokemon. I don't have the patience,
Yep.
But yet I have the patience for a game like The Witcher that is some of the most cumbersome, fucking dense content ever. So,
I mean, yes, but it's different. And then it's like, I guess the same reason of that, like, but I guess reading a book takes a long time, but I know you don't. I still have the patience to go through and read a book. It's because
hold on.
everything that happens
What's a book?
is relevant to the story and is
An iPad?
important information. Versus with Pokemon, it's like, all right, great. This little fucking like kid that's talking to me in this game wants me to show me around the town and explain to me how the fuck to catch a Pokeball. I mean, to catch a Pokemon, like you press this button. It's like fuck off.
Touch me, Brian. Touch me.
Yeah, right, exactly. And it's just like, all right, just fucking let me play this goddamn game and put it into I'm not a 6-year-old mode.
Right.
But I don't know. That's just me. But
yeah, it is interesting. I mean, I started playing. Oh God, brain doesn't work much anymore. I need whiskey. Not Undertale. Starts with an S. I don't know. Another one of those types of games, and it'll come to me. Stardew Valley. I started playing Stardew Valley. I'm probably like 4 hours into that, and it's not going anywhere. I like it, and it makes me feel good, and it's relaxing. But I'm always like, feel like something else is going on. Like I need to be doing something. Like I can play Overwatch for 4 hours straight, and maybe that's because I'm in the party chat talking with everybody. But I love single player games like Uncharted when that was out recently, and obviously going back to The Last of Us. Even The Witcher's doing that, where I can sit there for hours on end, and I feel like I'm accomplishing things, and I'm enjoying it, and I want to know what's going to happen next. To me, it doesn't have that draw. Where it's like, if I'm going to play an RPG, I got games like The Witcher, and you can dive much deeper into hardcore Japanese RPGs and everything too. But then I don't know. Maybe I'm in one of those waves. You go through series of different feelings of what you got to getting into, and I don't know, man. It's interesting to see, but then maybe that's where the nature of what Pokemon Go is. It's you can pick it up and play for 5 minutes and then put it down.
Exactly.
Right.
I think that's what's the tie-in. But nonetheless, so the last couple of things on the list is just there is an official release date. I think it was actually just this morning, Kyle, that the Xbox One S was official, like the official release date was put out to be August 2nd, which is a little bit earlier than I expected. I thought it wasn't going to be until like September, probably not October. I thought it was going to be a September release.
Well, no. Let's dive a little deeper into this real quick. Or if you want to touch on Tomb Raider release date, just because that's a rumor. Go ahead while I'm pulling up the
other one that I put on there is just completely a rumor. We don't know if it's true. It just came up on some like Italian or something Amazon website of that Rise of the Tomb Raider on PS4 is going to come out October 11th.
It's for sure coming out this holiday. I can tell you that right now from
the release
my
date
contacts.
And the only other thing too is we don't know if this will include all the DLC that's come out in the game or not. So if it's gonna be like a super edition or whatever they call the games, and we'll see. It's just the rumor right now is October 11th.
Right.
But what were you saying about the Xbox?
Okay, so the Xbox One S, the one thing we have to just put it out there immediately and make sure people are aware that, okay, for some reason I thought the release date was already known. I'm pretty sure it was on GameStop's website forever because I'd seen it there. And it's on there now, but who knows how long that's been on there. But one thing for people to know, well, I know pre-orders were open and they shut, so maybe that's what it is. But one thing to know is at Xbox's E3 conference, they got on stage and said, Xbox One S, blah, blah, blah. It's 500 gigs and it's $299. They said it's just $299. So everybody was like, blah, blah, blah. So the one that's coming out August the 2nd is the 2 terabyte.
Oh, yeah.
$399.99. So a $400 Xbox One that's same thing. It's slimmed down. Obviously runs things a bit more efficiently, but it also has that 4K Blu-ray player built in. For $400, that's hard to say. 2 terabytes is nice, but is it? I don't know. So, but the one I think most people are more wanting it for was that 500 gig, $299 price point. It's a nice, sweet price point. Right now, it still has a tentative date of 12/31/2016. So expect that this holiday, I would assume. Yeah, I believe there's also another version of it. I thought there was going to be a 1 terabyte. I don't know. There's also there's a Xbox One S 2 terabyte Gears of War.
Yeah, so there's a few different versions coming out with it.
So Xbox is continuing to doing the thing that PlayStation used to do last gen and have a million fucking SKUs. So $400 for a slim down Xbox One, which the Xbox One you can go get for $249.99 right now, $250. So my thing is, yeah, the slim looks very nice. Thank God it's not a giant fucking clunky thing. But for $150 more, unless you got a 4K TV, really no point for it. So go get yourself one for $249 while it's a good price. I mean, the Elite console is $349, which is a 1 terabyte, and it comes with the Elite controller. So, pick your battles where you want to be. Really, this is only for someone that has a 4K TV. Or, of course, if you want a smaller, slimmed-down console, which nothing wrong with that either. But $400, otherwise, wait for the 500 gig one coming later in the year. Because I think there's going to be a lot of console choices this holiday season, because the rumors are still out there that PlayStation's going to come out with a slim PlayStation as well, and the PlayStation Neo, which is supposed to be obviously 4K compatible like the S, but more powerful in many ways. But I think we'll retouch on that topic later in the year if these things do come to fruition, because I know we did talk about it a few episodes ago. But I think it's really coming down to is these are luxury items, right, Brian? It's like buying the S version of the iPhone 6. It's if you got a 4K TV, here's a way to output it and run it a little better. Otherwise, wait for that 500 gig Xbox One S at $299, or just get one for $250 right now. And same goes with PlayStation. There'll be a slim just for slimmer, cheaper components, and then they'll probably have a 4K one, whatever the Neo actually does do. So, we'll save that for something else. But nonetheless, Xbox One S, 2 terabytes, October 2nd.
So that will move us into the topic of the show, which I guess just probably good that it's going to be a bit of a smaller topic, as we're already coming up to close to an hour here. But the topic of the show is something I thought about.
42 minutes. We're good.
42? Okay. That I thought was an interesting topic, or something that I'm kind of experiencing firsthand right now with the games, the 3 main games that I am playing. So those are what, or kind of the idea to it is, what is gaming evolving into, and what is it that you are okay with and what you're not okay with? And what I mean by that, for like evolving into, is I meaning as like for a sales standpoint. So when you buy a game, what does it come with, and what are you going to be continuing to receive after the game comes out? So the 3 main game types that I've kind of put out there, which maybe some people argue there's different ones, is freemium games that are full price games but include all the DLC, but usually have some sort of in-game purchase, in games that will actually have DLC expansions. So the 3 examples I bring up with that for freemium are Pokemon Go. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. But if you want to, I don't want to say get a better experience, but have the game move a bit quicker, you can pay, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't guarantee you anything, but it can make you, I guess, level up a bit quicker. Or with the egg case, that you buy incubators, things like that, you might get more rare Pokemon. The one-time pay with premium items, example I have is Overwatch. Like I said, I believe they've stated that every character that will come out with Overwatch is free. There's no cost on top of the game. You paid $60 or $40 if you got the PC version, and it comes with those characters. But if you want to get more skins and get more costumes and sprays and whatnot for Overwatch, you can buy more of those loot crates or loot cases, whatever they call them, and you can open more of them and blah blah blah. It's kind of like in Hearthstone, or even just like any card game, you buy you like buy little packs and it comes with more stuff, but you're not guaranteed that you get what you want. And then the third type is games with expansions, and I bring out Destiny. I think is one of the best ones to show there, of that you have to buy the base game, and then every expansion beyond that will cost you some money. Now, obviously, they eventually come out with things like types of games, or as they proceeds on, like when the Taken King came out, you could buy one version that came with everything. But I mean, for a person like me, bought the game for $60, bought all the expansions separately, and I'll be getting the new expansion, and so I've spent quite a bit of money on the game at this point. And so I guess the idea. So Kyle, just right off the bat, so you tell me what is it that you kind of prefer, or what do you wish more games would do?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's a matter of preference on what I prefer one over the other. I think it's key to take note that the industry has evolved enough to understand that. I mean, God, you go back just 3-4 fucking years ago, it was milking people left and right. It was trying so many of these free-to-play games, but you run out of time. You got to buy this if you want to keep going. Otherwise, you got to wait, or you got to do this, or you got to buy that. And it's like all that free-to-play microtransaction bullshit really seems like it has died down and really not stopped, but not shoved it in your face to where it's not necessary. It's not like Plants vs. Zombies 2 is a great example, right? You hit that time limit, you hit that limit of how many resources you can use, and you can wait, 6 hours or whatever it is, and it'll replenish, or you can pay $2 now to keep playing. Where it's just like, seriously, just let me pay $5, $10 for the fucking game, and let me own the game and play the game. Which
I think Pokemon Go did a good job with that.
And that's where I was going with it, where I think Pokemon gets it to where you can replenish your Pokeballs pretty actively by either leveling up, walking to a Pokestop, which is the point of the game, is to go out and do things, and doing the game itself. But it is one of those where it's like, it's only 99 cents, and then I can get a lucky egg. I might as well do it, and I'm supported a little bit. It's not in your face. It's actually, you got to go looking for it to find out where you're buying things. So I think the freemium model that Pokemon uses is great, because you honestly don't need to touch your wallet at all and can still really enjoy that experience for quite a while too. Yeah. And then, I love it when games understand what they are, such as Overwatch, where they're like, okay, you're paying $60, I guess, on console, for a game that's online only, doesn't have a story. It's just a couple game modes, just a few maps. It really is not what you would quote unquote determine as a $60 game. But at the end of the day, it is so well refined. It is so perfectly balanced and well done. And the core mechanics of the game are so good that you keep coming back to it, that they do intrigue you with this extra content, whether the loot boxes. And I'm sure there's going to be other maps and characters. I mean, we just had a new character come out. So, I think that's a great model as well. I think The Witcher actually is kind of an anomaly, but the Witcher's content was all free except for the massive 2.0 DLC, like the one Blood and Wine that just came out. But the actual other contents and other stuff that did come out, it was free as well, because developers are starting to realize, like, you scratch the consumer's back and they appreciate that. It's a little bit of personalization. But with that being said, and Destiny actually does it great too, where they give you so much out of the box that a year later, when you are asked to spend another $40 on something with the next DLC drop or whatever it is, season pass, you're getting probably countless hours worth of content, new light levels, new raids, new missions, new, obviously, gear and upgrades. I think the industry as a whole has finally got it. There's still ones that don't do it right. There are still ones that are overpriced. There are still ones that seem to not grasp that concept. But it seems like, if you remember 4 or 5 years ago, it was nonsense. Everyone was always talking about microtransaction this, microtransaction that.
Fucking buy an online pass to play EA games if you bought them used.
Exactly.
Like, what the fuck?
They were trying to milk people of their money left and right. And it's like, that's the reality. That's not what you want. That's the opposite of what you want. And
so what I was going to say with it is, like, right now, because I've had a bit of discussion actually with my friends. I'm trying to convince them to get Overwatch, is that they complain. It's like, well, it's not a $60 game. It's like, oh, I agree with you, But then by that definition, Super Smash Brothers isn't a $60 game.
Exactly.
You know, it's like the games that you have to look at what you're playing it for, and what you're playing Overwatch for is one, it's a game you're going to put countless hours into. And if you look at the actual hours you put into a game versus the amount you've spent on it, that's usually the best way to see, like, okay, how much have you gotten worth of your money? Excuse me. So for Overwatch, it's like you're paying $60 for the characters and for the balancing. And this is a game that if there is a bug, I don't want to say bug, if there's a exploit that's giving one character an advantage over the rest, I think what you're partially paying for is that Blizzard will figure it out and push an update out within days. Is that the type of thing? Is that you're getting stuff that they're actively staying with the community. They're going to come out with these new characters, which add a whole new dynamic to the game. When you bring new characters in, it changes the meta game completely. And I think that's what you're paying for. I can still stand by, is $60 a bit for it to go with? Yes, I think, unfortunately, just because on console they can do it, they put it for 60 and not 40. Like they did.
But they
PC.
also included the Origins Edition content, which was a bunch of skins,
it's skins and shit. I don't care. I mean,
yeah, but
whatever. You could have given me the.
But that's their whole MO. That's what the extra content in that game is, right? It's loot boxes.
Yes,
which
but
is
and I'm
skins.
saying is that I think it would have been a much easier sell if it was a $40 game for my friends that literally will not give a shit about the skins and stuff.
You say that, but the game sold fucking like crack. So I don't.
No, sure, I agree.
Really
I'm not saying. Am I happy? Was it a good $60 I spent? Yes, by all means, I would not take it back. I have put countless hours into it, and I will continue to do so. But I'm just meaning for the sale of trying to get new people to come into it, it would have been easier to say 40, but I get where they're at with 60. And so as long as they keep pushing the characters out and they keep the game popular, then it makes it feel
But think again, I had to convince you. I had to convince Derek. It was the same thing. Oh, I've heard a lot about it. $60 doesn't really look like it's worth it. And then you still continue hearing me and Silver talk about it. You see all the tweets about it. Then you watch one of my streams and you see how much fun I'm having. It's bringing back that, like,
I know,
it's that same. Well, nah, it's you ended up buying it. Matt ended up buying it.
I agree.
Derek ended up buying it because they gave it a chance by not just buying it, by watching YouTube videos, by watching Twitch streams, twitch.tv/Penguin Rage, and. Once you see that and you see the competitive aspect of it when you're playing with your friends, they now enjoy it. Like Matt seems to be really enjoying it, and he's the most recent example.
But I'm just meaning of that.
It's Blizzard, Brian. They can do whatever the fuck they want.
Exactly.
That's the
I think if it was a perfect world, it should be a $40 game, even with the DLC. And I mean, by DLC, I'm just meaning it's literally a couple extra characters or something that will come with it. But $60, I mean, the amount of hours I'm going to be putting into it doesn't make me feel like it's not worth it. It's just, I think, like I said, in a perfect world, it is a $40 game. It has less content in the box than most other games for $60.
Yes. Pound for pound, it is. But then how many hours have you already chugged into that game?
But sure, and that's what I'm saying, is that I don't feel bad about spending it. I'm just meaning for when you're trying to sell it to people that aren't interested, it would be an easier sell for 40 than it would be.
It is, but it's everybody's personal preference, right? You say, well, here's how content there is, which I've got games where there's bukus of content, huge game, tons of shit, and I only put 10 hours into it. When this game comes out and there's half the amount of content, but I did 10 hours in 2 days.
I know. I get
it's like, so then where do you measure what money's worth?
At this point, but
no, that's the topic of the show. How do you?
No. I'm just meaning like that we're saying the same thing is what we're talking about.
Yes, I know, but you're more leaning, it seems like, on that side where in my normal world, I agree. Titanfall is another great example. Online only game. Exactly. It got ripped apart, reviews, blah blah blah, because it really didn't justify being a $60 game. And that being said, it's because the game wasn't really refined. It didn't have the claws into you, this sticking, like where you just had to keep coming back. It didn't have that. It was overwhelming. I think there was too much for how little it was, if that makes any sense at all.
And it is a case of that. People will be better with paying more money for something when they get a better product out of it. And it's not to say that you're getting more content, but if you get something that's more fun, like if I could go pay $60 to go to Disney World or $60 to go to Six Flags, it's like, holy shit, I'm going to go to Disney World because, it's the same cost. I'm going to get so much more content out of something so much more fun out of that. And I get
Right.
that. So I mean, are they in the wrong for charging 60? No, probably not, because people are spending it and people are enjoying it. And if they charge a little bit more to make it a more refined game, then I guess that's the logic. I'm just saying, for the sale of it, it would have been easier to try and convince people for $40. And obviously they didn't need to do that because people are buying it. So the other one that like I said, we were talking about was Destiny. And this one is probably the most controversial. I mean, for people that I feel like are really devout into the game and have spent hours and hours and hours and hours into it, they're not mad about spending, maybe 30 to $60 a year on this game because it comes with new content and things like that. But I know there is a huge, people were tearing Bungie apart because they're like, oh, they're just greedy bastards. They're trying to just get more and more money. This should just be in the vanilla game. This is what it should be. And it's like, again, you're not wrong. Like I guess I'm saying is, like, those people aren't wrong. Like, in a perfect world, everything would be on the $60 disc and we get a new Destiny every 3 days. What I'm meaning is, it annoys me when I see people about that, when it's like, okay, the new expansion's coming out and it's $30 and people are like, what? That's half the cost of the game vanilla when it came out. And it's like, yeah, but it's like, look at the amount of
content. But it has all the
getting.
vanilla content plus making it all 2.0. Like, and that's just ignorant people being fucking stupid, because let's be honest, that model has been around for fucking probably 12, 13 years now. Anyone heard of World of Warcraft?
Yeah, World of Warcraft.
It's the same fucking thing. Yeah. It's the core game came out, and then every year,
which is
1 year
funny.
later, it was expansion, which would be $40 to $60.
Which is,
and it was literally, here's vanilla, we added this piece to it, now it's double the size.
Is
and
hilarious in that a lot of the times the people that are complaining about this and saying it's a ripoff are the PC gamers. One, I think just because they're salty and it's not on PC, but it's like, people are like, oh, but it's a piece of shit game and you have to keep paying for it to keep playing. It's like, what okay, I can name off a few big PC games that do the exact same fucking thing. Oh, and you also have to pay per month to fucking play them.
Yeah, I mean, but you can argue you do on PlayStation or Xbox as well. So
okay, but I'm meaning like, okay, $50 for a year, and that's getting you the online content. I'm meaning like, if you go back to WoW's premiere days, it was like $15 a month on top.
No, I know, but my main thing is, I don't think it has anything to do with people actually hating on the business model, because let's be honest, people go and buy Madden every fucking year for $60 when it's the same game with a couple new modes and a couple refinements. Madden, FIFA, NHL, NBA, you name it. They buy it every fucking year for $60, when in reality, they could do what Destiny does and come out with Madden game every year, and it's only $30, like an expansion pack, and it updates the things, it updates the rosters, and has a few new refinements. So in reality, Destiny's saving you money, where there could be a new game every single fucking year, where it's Destiny 2.0 and it comes out with all this new stuff. You still have the original stuff in there, but it's $60, just like Madden does. It's the same. It's the same game.
And these games are designed so that you put countless hours into them, and people, it's like, oh, well, I got the, and it's like, okay, if you pay for it, and yeah, if you go out and keep buying these things, and you only play the main storyline once, and you don't play online, you don't do the raids, it's like, well, then no shit, you're not going to get your money's worth.
And that game's not made for them. It's not.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, this is a game that it's designed that you come back to, and you put, 15 to 20 hours into every week.
It's something. Once again, it's the vocal minority. It's the 1% of people that want to bitch and complain. And you know what? I'd say half of those 1% go and buy it anyway, and the rest of us buy it and enjoy it. Because let's be honest, we have this beautiful thing we look forward to every single year in September. It's called Destiny. We loved Destiny when it first came out. We loved the Taken King. It got us back into it for another few months. In your case, much longer. My case, another 2 or 3 months. And guess what? When the new one comes out this year, this September, I believe, it's gonna get us back into it probably for another couple months until something else gets its claws into us. And boom, guess what? Destiny 2 is supposed to come out in 2017, so that's when it's gonna be $60 again. Yep. And it's gonna be a complete. We don't know what it's gonna be. Is it gonna have all the vanilla stuff in there plus game 2? I don't know, or we don't know. We don't fucking know. But the point is, the fact that Destiny came out now, I guess it's 2 years ago this September?
It wasn't my freshman year, it was my sophomore year, right?
So it wasn't last year, because Taken King was last year, so that's 1 year from this. So yeah, it'd be 2 years. So by the time Destiny 2 comes out, it'd be 3 years, rough time frames here. Let's just assume 3 years. that's a long time between games. So if you're only paying $30 in between, unlike Madden where you're paying 60, 60, 60, I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, if the game's good enough. Now, another good example is The Division. The Division came out. We all enjoyed the shit out of it. We played the living fuck out of it. It was very fun, trying to use the same concept and business model as Destiny, but we all fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
Now, if they come out with good enough content with their first DLC rollout, which is supposed to be pretty soon, like I'm talking their first major DLC rollout, like the Taken King was,
the difference
I can get back into it.
The difference between the two of them is that Destiny, I will agree, when vanilla Destiny came out, it was lacking on like story and like, I don't even really want to say lore because the lore was there, but people were upset about the story and they felt like, okay, maybe it's not for a $60 game. Are you getting enough story? Because the story you could do it in like a matter of a few hours, but it came with a shitload of content, and the game, the gameplay, and at least on like, like a mechanics level, the game was pristine. And I think even now there's not many games that compete with Destiny in regards to just overall crispiness of how good it feels to play not only PvP but also PvE. And I think that's where it was done right and people stayed with it, because it's like, all right, we can keep playing it because if it's fun to play, the content will come and we'll continue to pay for the content. Versus I think the thing with The Division was that it was a cool idea and the concept was there. And I even can say, the storyline was fun and it was interesting and it was a cool world they created, but something just did not feel right from that game from the day one when I started playing it. And I mean, it almost felt more correct.
I think the problem with it was it just got too broken and glitchy.
Exactly.
The PvP stuff.
There was no, I didn't feel confident that I was like, if I sit down and play this for 15 hours, is it going to be worth my time was kind of the issue. And that like, the idea that they did for like the loot and whatnot in the online world was interesting. But again, it felt broken and it felt like, it just felt discouraging because it was like, I could put 15 hours into this, but someone else knows a glitch that will give them all that same content in 6 seconds. And it's like,
I mean, and I think the biggest thing that actually got me away from it is I leveled up to level 30, I believe was the cap. I finished all the story. I put a lot of hours into it. I enjoyed the fuck out of the game. It was a great game. Don't get me wrong. And then with all the bugs and the crap that happened, they completely swapped their whole gear system and their loot system to when I came back, I didn't know what the fuck was going on, and it seemed like so much of my gear and everything was irrelevant, and I basically had to start over. Now, you can argue Destiny did the same thing, but it seemed more approachable, and it seemed like they did a better job of kind of explaining themselves in that regard.
Yeah,
I think Destiny, I don't know. It was Destiny did it right where they brought everybody back in with story content where it was easily to understand and people wanted that story. That's what they were aching for. And The Division could do that. They very well can.
Cool. Like I said, it was an awesome idea, but it just, at the end of the day, it was like, at least with Destiny, like I'm frustrated as fuck because I didn't get the loot drop I wanted, but at least it wasn't like someone else took that loot away from me, I guess is kind of the idea. And that it's like you try and go into this online world and you just, like if you can't play it by yourself is also the problem. And that if you try and go into this online world and you try and level up, it's like, you're going to get fucked over by the 7 people that are running around together. Yeah. And I don't know, maybe now there's a solution to it. Maybe they figured something out, but that was what bothered me the most is I finally got into like that online world and I wanted to play it. And it was like, great. I just lasted 36 seconds and then I lost everything that I had. Like I said, things might be different now, right? But fuck off.
But I mean, you know what? I'm gonna give The Division another chance. I got the season pass, so when it comes out with the big content drops, I'll jump back on there with a couple other people, and we'll see where it goes. But we kind of argued the same thing with Destiny in year one, where we hit a cliff, and I could go back. I can get I probably grind for a couple hours, get my gear where it needs to be, and then start doing the raids with people. Even if you stay away from the PvP, you do the raids and you do some of the extra challenges and the stuff like that. And then when they roll out the new content, it could have those claws in you again. So we'll see when that rolls out. It's got to be soon. For God's sakes, I believe it's August when the big first content drop's supposed to come. So I'll have to check with Silver to see what that's all about and whatnot. But there's all the different types of games, and then of course you have your standard games where it's Uncharted, where it's story driven, point A to point B. At the end of the day, more open now than ever before. But those story-driven games, I still think that's where it has the content side of it and the emotional attachment to it. That a game that Overwatch
They still
might
come out with DLC for it.
Yeah, they're coming out for story DLC for it. They haven't even given a date for it. It's not anytime soon. But what I'm saying is it's so very different from Overwatch, even Destiny and the Division for that matter, where it's really start the game here and
Destiny
the game
is
there.
an investment. Overwatch is a one-time purchase of a one-time investment versus, like I said, Destiny is a long-term investment versus games like Uncharted are a zero risk investment, if that makes sense. Because if you buy the game and you enjoy even just the main storyline, cool, you got your $60 worth of content. You don't need to worry about DLC. Versus like Overwatch and Destiny, that is number one, like one of the number one like risks of going into those games is like, okay, what are you going to get out of it in the long term? Because those are the type of games that you're buying.
And then you're still getting, the Uncharted's, The Last of Us, the story-driven, more linear games. Linear is loose now because most games are more wide open, as you see with Uncharted 4. But there's so much content there from a gameplay standpoint, from a story standpoint, the cinematics. And then it's still a 15 to 20-hour experience for just the story. And then if there's the multiplayer and everything in there, too. And then DLC to come. So, I mean, I think, like I said, really the winner out of all this, from the different types of games, from free-to-play up to your investment games like Destiny. I think it's shown that the industry's really made strides and has come a long way than where we were 4 or 5 years ago, where it was microtransaction this, microtransaction that, bullshit, test the waters with this, test the waters with that. And in all honesty, I think that's why mobile gaming, like games on your phone, App Store games like iTunes and Google, that's why it never took off. Like all these analysts and special people fucking predicted it's going to kill console gaming. It's the future in this society. It's like, no, you go on to Google Play, you go on to iTunes. It's a fucking disaster. You can't find shit. You can't do anything. And most of the games are garbage. It's ones that creep through the cracks, such as Pokemon Go, that kind of fits the bill and it does it differently. Now, of course, there's still your Clash of Clans. There's still your microtransaction games like that. But I think that is a different audience. I think it's capturing the people that play the games casually, 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, and they don't mind dropping a little bit of money like that because they're not spending $60 on Overwatch and then $60 on Destiny. This is how they consume games. It's different audience, different demographic.
Yep.
So, all right, everybody. Well, that was the main topic of the show. So shout out to the guys that are jumping into the Twitch chat, Casey and everybody else out there. Thank you for being here. So right now is your chance. If you do want to be part of the show, send us a message into the Twitch chat in regards to a topic. Do you have a question for us about anything in the gaming industry? Type it into the Twitch chat, or of course for future episodes that anybody that is listening to us on YouTube or on podcasting services, tweet at me at Penguin Rage Live or send emails to penguinragebiz@gmail.com. So of course, I think that's, the main thing right now is, so I'll give these guys a second to send in any questions that they may have, if they have any. But we'll wrap up with the ending business, of course. So we are on YouTube, so make sure you guys check out on YouTube. Let me type it into the chat as well, since I don't have a simple solution for the people listening else. Just look into the show notes under the show. So subscribe on YouTube, other content on there as well. If you want to see them on YouTube, they'll be up usually a day after. And of course, check us out. Search Games Reloaded, the Games Reloaded podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. Make sure you subscribe on those places. Rate it, give it some stars, give it comments, do what you got to do, for the kids.
They don't think it'd be like it is, but it do.
Yeah, exactly what B said.
That one.
And like I just said a minute ago, make sure you follow on Twitter at Penguin Rage Live to submit questions or just engage, see about all of our streams, or send questions to penguinragebiz@gmail.com. And lastly, and most importantly, follow on Twitch, twitch.tv/penguinrage, where we stream Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all gaming, fun, awesomeness, cool things like that. And then Monday nights, we record the Games Reloaded podcast. So come hang out with us and do things.
Do the things.
And Brian, what's your Twitter so people can go see you talk about Bernie Sanders?
Stevenson01. Fuck off. At B Stevenson014. I don't tweet like anything. I just retweet shit.
Yeah, he sold out. He's sucking Hillary's dick now. So
no, I'm not. Not at all.
No, not you. Bernie is.
Oh yeah. Well, he kind of had to, unfortunately.
No, I know. I'm fucking around. Yeah. So anyway, everybody, if there's no last minute questions or comments that are coming in here, of course, even if you don't have a question, if you have an idea for a topic of the show that we want to talk about, like we did tonight with the different types of the way we consume content in games, send them into all those services like we just said. So, of course, everybody, thank you so much. You guys are awesome. I'm not going to end the stream, but I'm going to end it on the podcasting services. So, thank you, everybody, for being here. And
$1 bill, y'all.
Stay worthy.